Welcome to the CTE Educator Collaboration Forums. My name is Jeremy Leffelman, Executive Director of the Minnesota State Advanced Manufacturing Center of Excellence. I'm very happy you could join us for our final sector-specific session of the day. This session is for welding, metalworking, brazing, and soldering. The center hosted 4 other sessions earlier today and has been working with other organizations in the state, including Minnesota State Colleges and Universities, Minnesota State Centers of Excellence, the Minnesota Department of Education, Minnesota Technology and Engineering Educators Association, and multiple manufacturing associations in Minnesota to help navigate the educational challenges associated with the COVID-19 pandemic. The purpose of today's forum is to provide all Minnesota CTE educators, both secondary and post-secondary, a common platform to come together and share information, share ideas, best practices, resources, and collaborate on a grand scale. It's important to note, the Minnesota State Advanced Manufacturing Center of Excellence is not claiming to be experts in any of the topical areas today. We are the convener of these forums. You as the educators are the experts in the topics being covered today. We will be here to assist, share any relevant links, and provide information on resources that are already established. We will also be taking notes and follow up as necessary. So you should be able to see on the screen a set of rules and guidelines that we've established for these forums. We want to ensure that the information that's being shared is relevant to the conversation. This will ensure a quality forum. I also wanted to note at this time that the session is being recorded so that it can be shared with others that could not attend. So some things to keep in mind when we're moving through this forum today. Stay positive. We're all in this together. We don't have all the answers. Things, obviously change very frequently and often. And this forum is really a great way for you to connect with other educators. Refrain from discussing or referring to anything political or personal opinions. This is not a place to vent or to pass any blame on anyone. Keep the conversation related to courses and curriculum. Share what you know and how you are dealing with it. Ask questions and propose what-if scenarios. There's bound to be someone on the call that has an answer or an idea. Come up with solutions, be innovative. Use the chat feature and voice your ideas. Respect others. There's no such thing as a bad idea, and everyone's situation is different. This isn't a discussion about we versus them. This is really about instructors coming together to navigate the challenges associated with remote and online learning. Your video, most likely, you noticed, will be disabled when you join. We did this to decrease the effect on bandwidth and improve the connection for all participants. Unmute yourself when talking. Your audio is also muted once you joined. Muting yourself when not speaking minimizes background noise. Be respectful of other attendees. Don't dominate the conversation. It's very difficult to hear if more than one person at a time is speaking. Meetings are being recorded and will be put on the Google Docs link, which will be shared in the chat window. Please submit any documents or web links directly to the Google Docs folders, or you can certainly paste them in the chat window as well. And once again, stay positive. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Nick, who will provide some basic instruction for utilizing Zoom. Nick?
Afternoon, folks. I'm the center's admin and technical support person. I wanted to provide a few brief introductory comments about using Zoom's chat, audio, and screen sharing features before we get underway. The document I am referencing / reading from is also found in the base directory of the Google Drive link that is being shared actively in chat. So feel free to use that for reference either now or going forward. Many of you are probably already familiar with Zoom, so I will try to zip through some of this. But if you mouse over or drag over the bottom area of your screen or mobile device, you should see Zoom's meeting controls hotkey bar. This is where you can toggle whether or not you're muted with the microphone symbol in the bottom left-hand corner. There is a little upward pointing, I guess, triangular caret toggle there as well that allows you to manually select different devices for your speakers or your microphone. That is where you'll generally want to go if you're having issues either hearing us correctly or if you're having trouble being heard while unmuted. I'm actually going to be pasting into the general chat area the direct Zoom link that has a much more robust video and write-up attached to triaging those issues in case you have any more specific questions. Additionally, the meeting control bar will also let you, excuse me, the meeting, words are hard. Let me find my place again. The hotkey bar itself will also let you toggle Zoom's chat room feature and the participant listing. If you don't see either of those two things right away, feel free to click on the chat button, which will open a new interface pane where you can type messages to the group. You can message all participants by selecting everyone in the drop-down menu, or type in specific usernames or select them manually to message them privately. Toggling the participants button will show or hide a similar interface pane. In addition to regular chatting, there are reactionary emotes available that can be toggled. These will appear near your username in the participants pane when active. For example, right now I'm turning on the little thumbs up emoji guy. Finally, if you would like to share the contents of your screen with the group, say you've got a notable web page, document, or some other resource that would be best consumed visually, please feel free to click on the Share Screen button, which is in approximately the middle of the hotkey bar we've been talking about. Hopefully that helps give you a general idea of how to use Zoom, but feel free to hit up the chat if you have any more specific technical questions, and one of us will try to get to you quickly. Thanks, that's all.
Thank you very much, Nick. Definitely, if you have any questions at any time, please either speak up or type it in the chat and we will get to you. At this time, Sue Selland-Miller, the Director of Manufacturing Education Programs for the Center, is going to provide some insight on the Google Share document page. She'll be providing the link multiple times during the forum. Sue, it's all yours.
Thank you, Jeremy, and welcome everyone. I did just share the link a couple times in the chat, and the reason I do it so many times is because one downside of Zoom is that anything shared in the chat is not visible to somebody who joins after it's been shared. So that's why we like to keep sharing the link in case you joined later, you have access to it. So the first link that I shared there, the Google Drive folder, if you click on that, what you see now on the screen is where you will end up. This is our Google Drive that we created to try to help share all the information that we've come across and that has been shared by the attendees in the forums. And so this is, open to everyone to access. Within the COVID-19 Manufacturing Forum, we have a folder for each of the sessions that we've hosted today, but you can access any one of them. It doesn't matter if you weren't in the automation folder or session, you can still look in the folder. There are a couple other documents in here. I will highlight the one at the bottom, which is the Zoom Tech Help document Nick was referencing just a little bit ago. And I like to point out that if you are now utilizing Zoom as an instructor, this would be a great document to take advantage of because it has screenshots of what the students will see. You can't show them this menu bar as you're talking, but if you have this document, you can do that. So good thing to take advantage of. So in our folder today for welding, metalwork, brazing, and soldering, the documents that we've shared so far in here, you'll see there's an AWS curriculum information. A lot of these companies now are providing curriculum for free or at a reduced cost, and so AWS has some information there. There's another manufacturing e-learning tool document. Goodhart Wilcox publisher has some opportunities for curriculum. And then these next two documents were just shared with us today by FLATE, which is the Florida Advanced Technological Education Center. Marilyn Barger, the director of FLATE, serves on our National Visiting Committee for our NSF grant. And so they have done a lot of great work pulling some resources together that you can take a look at and see if it's of use to you at all. And then the last document in this folder is a sign-in sheet, and this is optional. If you'd like to pop your name there and contact information, we'll make sure you're on our email list to communicate or anything else we might share out. Or if you have a particular question, need some information about something, jot that in the notes and we'll try to help follow up on that. And then the last document I want to highlight is this resource list. This is our living document for our session. We wanted to have one spot we could kind of throw everything in as we're talking, and some things you'll see are already listed here that we have pulled together from things that have happened last week, things that have happened yet today. And feel free, that's the second link I shared in the chat, and I will share those links again for anybody else who has just joined. You can come in here and add to the list. So if there's something that you know about, please put in the web address or whatever reference resource you may want to highlight. Otherwise, you can post it in the chat area as well, and I will copy and paste that information into this document, and then you're free to download and share however you want and utilize however you want. So I would like to go through a few of these resources just so you know what's here. You'll see at the top there's a section for mental health resources, and I've said this several times today that I feel it's an important part that everybody needs to remember. We need to take care of ourselves first in order to help our students and our families and everybody else. And so here are just a couple of things that might be helpful to you. I like this first one from Active Minds because there's actually some support resources to how do I support my students, because you're probably going to get a lot of questions or sharing from students about the challenges they're facing while they're taking your courses. There's also some good resources from the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And then the last one there, if you're an employee of Minnesota State, we can access the assistance program, and the phone numbers are there. It's free to call in and talk to somebody. And then, of course, the big one, we have lots of information for curriculum resources as you may be transitioning things to the online platform. The first one there is from Quality Matters, the checklist for best practices in setting up an online course. It's kind of an easy thing to go through and double check how your students might be looking at your online course. And then, of course, our own resources that our center has developed might be useful to you as well. The first one is the Career Success Skills modules. There's about 26 different modules that have been created. You can go to that web address there and request those modules. They are ready-made lessons focusing on soft skills that employers are looking for. So you could pick and choose which ones might fit within your course. And included in each module are PowerPoints, teacher guide, student workbook, videos, everything you need is right there, ready made. It's free to use. And the best part is it's all a part of, it's all centered on manufacturing. So all the skills that are talked about are in a manufacturing setting. And then career exploration resources, maybe in particular secondary instructors. If you wanted to give an opportunity to explore careers in manufacturing, we have several things that might help. First up, the manufacturing career tool. If you go to that webpage, there are all kinds of interesting facts about careers in manufacturing, some videos of people talking about their jobs. There's a fun quiz students can take. It's like 20 questions. And at the end, it will say, based on your responses, these are the types of careers in manufacturing that may be a good fit for you. And then they can explore what those careers are all about. Another tool is the teacher guide. This would be focused on grades 6 through 12. You can download a free copy from the webpage, and it has ready-made lessons for exploring those careers. Also, you could access the YouTube channel for Dream It, Do It Minnesota. All kinds of great videos right there you can pick from. General ones about career facts, then lots of them of people talking about their jobs, their careers, their videos highlighting manufacturing companies in Minnesota, and then some of the newer ones feature women talking about their careers in manufacturing. So good options there. And then the last career exploration resource is the badge pathway. It's kind of a fun way to reinforce students for doing different career exploration activities. They can earn digital badges as they go. So little fun reinforcement. There's a web link to the page giving an overview, and then also a video that tells a little bit about it. And then we've shared some websites for secondary instructors. There's the MTEA webpage, which is constantly being updated with resources for relevant to you. And then all of the Center of Excellence, like us, have been trying to share resources for the specific discipline areas that you see there. So those might be useful for you. And then the last ones listed here are all things that have been added from the sessions we've just held today. So there are lots of great things that we can highlight. Engineering resources for engineering technology can be accessed through this website. There's some links. If your students are not, don't have internet access, some options for that. Someone shared if a high school needs to loan out computers, here's an example, loan form, the link to Google Teach from Home. There's also Khan Academy, ready-made lessons that might be able to be plugged in. We also just got today this resource from the CTE Coalition, and I want to actually show this to you. This is what it looks like when you go there, but they are highlighting industry partners that are saying they will provide free or reduced curriculum. And so here are some of the companies that have committed to that. And then if you go even further, this NC3, there are a few more relevant companies that you may be interested. What we hear, if you have a particular piece of equipment or something that you deal with, go to that company's webpage, because everybody seems to be jumping on board with wanting to provide support and help for instructors. Then the last few links here are For secondary instructors, I encourage you to go to some Facebook pages that are specific for you. You can ask questions and look for potential answers. So lots of stuff. I'll quit talking now so you have time to share your questions and collaborate on resources. But as I mentioned, this will be live. I'll be adding to it as we go. And I'll share the link to both the Google Drive and the resource list document that I just shared with you. So you can click on those and save them for later, make use of them however you wish. Jeremy, back to you.
Thank you, Sue. So up on the screen now are potential topics of discussion. Certainly, we're not going to go through each of these. We're not going to suggest any order, but this is for you as instructors to, if there's something up on that list that you're like, oh yeah, I can help contribute to this, or, I was really wondering how we're going to navigate the lab issue, for welding or whatever. These are basically just conversation starters and things to refer back to. I would ask that you consider signing in through the Google link that Sue just provided. We've got a sign-in sheet for each specific topic area. And this is a way for us to keep in contact with you and you to keep in contact with others that may be on this call or are seeking other information in the future. There might be some dead air times at points today, but that's certainly okay. We may be posing some questions to help move things along. We will be monitoring the chat area for questions that come in and posting any links. With that, I would like to welcome you to this CTE Educators Forum, and we will be here for you. And Sue, I know Tim Barrett with MDE posted a helpful link in the chat area if you want to talk about
that, and I copied it to the resource list document, but it is highlighting information on the ULINC welding curriculum that Lincoln Electric created, with the web links to access those resources. That was shared by Mike Sandell, who received it from Lincoln Electric, and Mike is with MTEEA. So thank you. That would be a great resource.
So once again, the center is here to act as conveners and to help connect people and to provide resources all in one spot. I'd encourage you to visit mnmfg.org and navigate to the COVID-19 response page, where you'll be able to find links to all of the good information we've been able to pull together over the last few days. So now is your time as welding instructors to talk through some of the items up on the screen. It's your time, and we'll get involved as necessary, but go ye forth.
I've got a question there, I guess, since it's kind of dead air right now. About a week ago, we kind of had a meeting with some welding instructors throughout the state. I forget his first name. Mr. Otto up at Central Lakes Community College had made mention for us secondary teachers that cannot have our students come to the school. They don't have any lab time where they could do any hands-on skills. He had said that we really could work hard on blueprint reading, weld symbols, basic math where they're doing fraction to fraction, fraction to decimal, decimal back to fraction. Those were great suggestions from him. I'm just wondering if somebody has, I'm not too worried about blueprint reading or weld symbols because the Cengage book that we use is pretty strong in that. But as far as any post-secondary or even secondary teachers that do a much better job maybe than what we're doing at teaching those critical math skills, I'd sure love some input.
Hey Bob, this is Jason. I was part of that conversation as well, and when I heard about the Khan Academy, I thought that connected up really nicely with that, and selecting some stuff from the Khan Academy, because at least then maybe it'll be enjoyable. Here's something that's world renowned from a math standpoint, and that was the first thing that popped into my head when somebody mentioned the Khan Academy. So,
thank you. That's a great resource.
Okay, we have another question coming out of the chat, asking if anything came out of the Minnesota State meetings yesterday about alternative strategies to providing technical skills in welding. And was anybody in on that conversation that would like to share? And the secondary instructor also asked follow-up question, by the way, in the chat. Definitely curious about some of the creative angles instructors are taking replacing lab time.
This is Kevin out of Mankato. So in terms of the angles and replacing lab time, I'm just thinking down the road of reverse engineering. Now that students understand what's going into creating a structure on the building end of things and the design phase of that, can they go now and pick out objects that are nearby them and kind of go through the reverse engineering process and pick out some of the raw materials that were put into there. I'm wondering if anyone has come across curriculum or content that is kind of along those lines.
Yeah, Skip here from Roosevelt High School in Minneapolis. I'm just curious, does anybody have any good sources for NDT teaching and weld defects? I have some information I got when I was doing my CWI work, but I was looking for something a little studently.
Just to clarify, because you cut out a little bit, you were looking for resources to teach weld defects?
NDT information.
Okay.
Yeah. Non-destructive testing, whether it be UT, magnetic particle, things like that, as well as talk about general structures involved in weld defects. I have some information I got when I was working on my CWI and some NDT classes I had in the past, but I was wondering something that's a little student friendly for like a high school level.
Okay, do we have anybody that can speak to that on the session?
Have you considered contacting AWS directly and seeing if they have specific stuff in their Sense program for NDT for high school students? That'd be the only thing I could think of, other than maybe contacting Ridgewater College, where they actually do the destructive, non-destructive program.
It's a good idea. Yeah, actually, I know the guy in charge of the region for AWS, since I'm a member. Was going to get a hold of him. I just haven't had a chance to do it yet.
We do have the document in the Google Drive folder for this session that came from AWS, that they'll be, offering their online portion free for 4 weeks. But I don't know if that includes exactly what you're looking for, but it definitely might be worth checking into.
I'll do that. Thank you.
But
You could also look up and contact the ASNT group, and it looks like they've got some online technician online you can take as well. I don't know if they're gonna open that up to have that at a reduced cost, but it would be interesting to at least check out to see what that would entail.
Jason, could you post that web link?
Sure can.
It's a good idea too. Good.
I don't know, it may be a good time to go back to the question regarding lab time. Not sure we really addressed that question. I could share a little bit of what I've heard both through the sessions we've held so far today and in the sessions that were part of the Minnesota State convening yesterday. I joined the sessions in the afternoon that were particular to policy and were hosted by Minnesota system staff. And they were there to help answer questions and hear what the questions are. And there, of course, were many questions regarding lab requirements and how to manage a lab, whether to have a lab, and the implications for courses that require these technical skills, how that would potentially affect grading, and how you may have students who don't want to come to lab because of their concerns. You may even have faculty that don't want to be in a lab with some other people that may be exposed. So unfortunately, there are a lot of questions and not a lot of answers, but what I took away from the policy sessions was that they are working on it. And to watch for, if you're college faculty, watch for communications that they said, hope to be out by the end of this week, which is tomorrow, right? But they're working on things regarding grading and financial impacts of partial courses, if students won't come back, what are the implications, stuff like that. So there's that piece of it. And then we've heard a lot of different discussion from faculty who have labs, who have, are kind of waiting to hear, but yet they've made some tentative plans, like modifying their labs so that they're smaller size, following the 10 or less students at a time, having, in place the expectations for social distancing and all that stuff. And then some faculty were saying, their administrators were saying, there's no labs. So there's definitely varying messages that have been shared, but hopefully there'll be some additional guidelines coming from the system office as well. So that's what little I know, and maybe there are some of you that could fill in some of the blanks.
Sue, is that for post-secondary teachers only?
Yeah, I'm sorry, that was just Minnesota State colleges and universities met yesterday. So yeah, that was just for the college level.
Yeah. Because at the high school level, we're just hands off. The kids can't come in at all.
Okay. Yeah, so your focus right now is what skills can we give our students online?
Yeah, our district won't even allow us in the building. Building is sealed.
Same here. I can't get into my school. They're talking about maybe a little bit of time tomorrow where we can get into, I need to grab my finals so I can get those into a Schoology quiz format. So I won't be able to go finals the normal way with the paper and school Scantrons.
We're fortunate enough down in Fairmont, the superintendent deemed us essential because we're still open for daycare and stuff. So we can get into the building, but they're saying, probably a lot like what was talked about yesterday at the state meeting. And that is, you're going to have certain teachers that are not going to be comfortable to come back, and you can't expect that. So at least we can get into the building compared to maybe other areas.
I know they mentioned in our staff meeting today that the building was open for preparing food for the kids who get school lunches and stuff, but the rest of the school has been they've been working on sanitizing it. So really worry about letting us into the building.
So there has been a post in the chat that is indicating the ASNT store, which I looked up because I didn't know, is the American Society for Non-Destructive Testing, is closed through April 7th. So if you want to purchase anything from them, you'll have to wait till after that point. And they shared the website there.
Has anybody used any of the Lincoln curriculum enough to maybe share if there's any simulations that kids could do? I've not looked at their curriculum very deep because I've used other up to this point, but if there's somebody that could shed some light, I'd love to hear.
All I've used is their posters for visual aids.
My next question was, do the Miller Weld open book curriculum closely resemble the U-Link that was just mentioned by Lincoln.
We've had a request for you to repeat your question. Regarding the Miller.
Yeah, I have not stepped into the Miller Open Book. I've registered for it, have not used it at this point, but I'm wondering if that is closely similar to the U-Link that someone else had mentioned, if someone has tried it already.
I haven't used it yet. We use a lot of Miller stuff, but it just, U-Link really does provide a lot of good stuff to schools, and that's why I was wondering about that one first, because they send us free posters every year. They do a great job of getting out information to schools where Miller has not been so forthcoming with stuff just unsolicited.
And Tim shared that Mike Sandell is trying to run down information from Miller Welding, but has not heard from them yet. And Mike is with MTEA, so I suspect that he would share that information on their resource webpage, which is in our resource document here, but I will copy it again just in case you want to write it or have it right away. And I see there's some other oops, I shared that privately. I'll share it again to everyone. Here we go. Some other good web links have been shared in the chat as well. And I will add those to our resource list. And there's a note that Miller Weld does provide some useful iBooks in addition to their iBook curriculum. And that must go with the link there to the Miller Weld's website.
Thank you, Sue, for those resources. I'm sure I'll find something in the Miller one. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Touching on what some other people have mentioned earlier, I was in on that conversation the other day too about doing more design stuff in class. That's something we can do online. And I really like that reverse engineering concept. That was a good idea where people could look at even a picture of a project and try to figure out what materials were used on it, what kind of weld joints they used, and see if they could reverse engineer to create a product and design it backwards. That's one thing my students have trouble with is they have an idea what they want to do, but they don't really know how to take the next step to break it down, other than just to start putting stuff together, and then as soon as it doesn't work out, they're kind of done with the project. So hopefully I can do some more with that.
Yeah, wasn't there discussion about like having a treasure hunt, or I don't think that was quite the right thing, but go and look for welds and evaluate them, or, you know, look at these things that gets them away from the computer for a little bit, which I thought was a good idea too.
Yeah, I think it was mentioned that it's desirable to be out in the sunshine or be outside more. So that was what he was hoping to do with his students, to send them out for looking at different, whatever they could find. If you look around, you'll find welds in pretty much everything you buy, you know, basketball hoops, or you have any car jacks or something in your garage, you'd be able to find some stuff. I think that'd be just kind of a fun activity for the kids to do.
Absolutely. We've had a few more things shared in the chat. The Facebook page, MTEA Facebook page has been posted. It's a great resource to go and ask questions, as well as find conversations of people sharing things that's going on. And then we have a question: is anyone exploring virtual site tours with their local industry partners? Jeremy and Jamie, this is kind of a good question, because our center hosts the tour of manufacturing, and one of the things we've talked about for a while is exploring the idea of creating virtual tours, that not, you know, all students can't get to a site to tour in a company, or it isn't feasible necessarily for a company to shut down, you know, for all these tours, and that a virtual tour would be a great option. You know, fortunately, we don't have that in place right now, but maybe this is more support for that approach.
I think that careers videos and YouTube channels that you talked about earlier would be a really good option for that.
Yeah, is it Polaris, and what are some of the companies that are highlighted on those? Jeremy, do you remember?
I don't, but I do know through our manufacturing career tool, which is available through our website, there's a day in the life, and one of the featured people is a welder. So your students could go out and watch that. He basically tells it how it is, you know, what the job entails, shows some different things that he does throughout the day. And it also gives some career information related to welding. In terms of our other videos, I guess Jamie would have to comment on one specific to welding, but we have quite a few free resources out there to utilize as you instruct people.
The YouTube channel link was just shared in the chat, plus it's in the resource list document. And then we have a comment sharing that there is a virtual job shadow resource, but it is a pay for use service. It is a great tool if you can afford it. And the website is shared there, and I will copy it to the list as well.
You know, I was thinking you can also probably do something with playing around with weld symbols, and what does that look like with the many weld symbols, on matching those up to various weld structures, or having the students match those up or something like that.
I can chime in on that. Everybody, it's Drew Hamilton with St. Paul College. To both Jason and Dave's points, just recently, my daughter's at St. Cloud State for mathematics, and she was showing me some stuff last night as she's working from home on her degree. And so I had no idea what it meant because it's mathematics. Not terribly exciting to me, but I pulled up a chart of weld symbols and what do they mean, and she took a while and kind of spent some time with that. And then to Dave's point, just finding welds out there kind of in the world. We always talk to students, especially the students, I think Sue's heard me say this before, how regularly we hear students say, what do you mean welding? What's welding? And I just kind of say, have you ever been up like a metal staircase, or have you ever used like a metal handrail? Look at the underside of that. Look at the top side of that. You'll see welds there, and you'll know what they are, and you'll know what you've done then. The virtual welders too are phenomenal, but the problem with them is that they're hands-on. I mean, it's pretty much the same as welding. I know there are some distance virtual welders, but you have to have the equipment from home to be able to utilize the virtual welding tool. St. Paul College has bought a few of them, but it's still a little difficult to do that from distance learning. I wish we could do more of that, because it's to younger students and even some of our early college students, it kind of comes across to them like the coolest welding video game you'll ever play.
Absolutely. I think it's almost like a competition from what I've heard to see. There's 5 things that it measures, and it almost becomes like a sporting event for the kids.
Yeah, exactly. If you get them on it's probably difficult to do this during the current environment, but if you get them on a set of aluminum bleachers, just say, go see how many welds you can identify. There's dozens of them, handrails and risers and backs of seats and benches and things like that. And then you can talk to, speak to the difference between, steel and aluminum welding, and stick versus MIG versus TIG. And it just kind of, if you're at a standstill with your program because of obviously the environment, you can explain, well, all right, so once you guys get into it, here's the difference between aluminum versus steel versus MIG versus TIG versus stick. And it does, it becomes like a sporting event.
The other thing you should, ask the question of what about grinding finishes? Because you added the material, you had to come back through and probably sometimes had to subtract material, and then even estimating a surface roughness. Can you figure out a way of, a general zone? You acknowledged, here's a weld. Did they grind it? Yes or no? And what's a general surface roughness? At least it throws them into the ballpark of being aware that additive material, subtractive material, and finished are all 3 call-outs of what you can have for one location, not just the welding itself. So just a thought.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you guys have plenty of projects where you have to show that, and to somebody that doesn't weld regularly. We have at St. Paul College, we have a simple cube or a dice project that we do, and we do it out of steel and we do it out of aluminum. And I love to show it to people, especially in the aluminum, because it's a little bit bigger and it's a little bit more hefty. And they always ask, well, how did you weld that from the inside? And it, we have to kind of explain, like, no, we didn't weld it from the inside. That's grinding and finishing work. So that's welded on the outside, just like you would assemble with like Elmer's glue, with cardboard. We just grind it and finish it. And honestly, for the people that don't know much about welding it, or even the earlier students, it just blows their minds. They're just like, God, you welded that on the outside? We say, yeah, let's go in the finishing room or the grinding room, and we'll show you how we do it. We have it in various stages, and it shows the welds, it shows the tacking, it shows the actual welds themselves, and then it shows the grinding and the finishing processes. So
I would love to see that dice. That'd be pretty cool.
if you come over to the college, if you guys come down to St. Paul College, we've got really the Disneyland, the never land of welding, as I always call it, the Disney World of welding, 88 individual bays. But I highlight those because we do them at the summer camps that the Center for Excellence supports. We've got, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders doing them out of steel. The aluminum ones, you guys, I'm sure, can understand they're a little bit more difficult. But if you guys are ever interested, our instructors are there. You can find me right around the corner from the weld shop in workforce training, continuing education. Just stop in and ask for Drew, and I will be happy to take you guys around, show you the weld shop.
I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, stop by. Drew Hamilton. I'm easy to find.
I got your name down. I got your St. Paul College.
Yeah, there you go. I'm on there. So I'm pretty easy to find on that green mile, the lower level. I call it lovingly the green mile. Our offices are right across from the auto bays. So just stop in and say, hey, I'm here to see Drew, and I'll show you guys around. Be happy to do it.
Yeah, we had planned on doing school visits on Friday. We were going to go visit different tech ed programs around the state. Minnetonka is doing kind of a trades thing right now. So we're expanding our trades areas. So
good. Yeah, I think I might be misspeaking here, but I think Minnetonka has visited our cabinet shop. So we've pretty much got it all at St. Paul College as far as trade and technical is concerned.
Excellent. I'll make sure that you're on so when we can get out to visit, you'll be one of the top spots we're going to see.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just let us know. Well, our instructors are happy to have you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Drew.
For sure.
Yeah, this is Millard Haley. I had my welding class down at your school about a month ago, and I have to say it was a fantastic experience for them. They got to do quite a bit of hands-on work. It was really positive.
Millard,
yeah.
Which high school?
Roosevelt.
Oh, of course. I remember you guys. Yeah, that was awesome.
I've heard some things from the students about it up to a couple of days ago. No, that was really good. I want to thank for that. I've been to a lot of schools, and I'm not going to knock any of them, but honestly, I got to say yours was head and shoulders above any other school visitation we've ever done. So
I appreciate it. That's both humbling and just awesome to hear. So you guys will be back for sure. Just make sure to, keep my name and keep our welding department and all the other departments you guys visited in the mix. And we'll absolutely have you back, hopefully sooner than later, once all this kind of blows over.
I did have some questions, and I'm sure you probably don't even know the answer, but I did have some students inquire that they were so excited about your summer program.
Yep, the camp.
Is that still going to fly, do you think, or is that up in the air?
We sure hope so. As a Min State employee, I have to tell you that I'm obligated to tell you no end in sight. We don't have any dates.
Right.
but we certainly haven't taken them down. We're still accepting registrations, and we'll make sure fingers are crossed, because that's a great camp. Everybody at the Center of Excellence has supported that camp for a number of years. We highlight the Center of Excellence during that camp and show the videos and the career builders, the posters, the instructor worksheets and workbooks. And we're going to leave it open, so I would definitely hope that it would still fly. Because it's a great camp. It's grown year over year, and we're excited to see that. And we get great support from the Center of Excellence. That's why I'm on these calls.
Great. Some of the best reviews I got of that, our experience down there, was from some of my female students. They were really excited about going down there in the summer and doing some more.
Hey, like you and I talked about, women make better welders.
Yeah, they do.
It's proven. It's a proven fact.
Well, thank you again.
Absolutely. I hope to see you guys soon.
You will.
All right.
This is awesome stuff. I just want to highlight a few things that have happened in the chat while you've been talking. Tim shared, I believe, a suggestion, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, but it would be, I'll just read it first and then we can talk about it. The Construction Careers Foundation is asking individuals to create smartphone videos about those same type of topics, like a day in the life, I believe, of a career, and highlighting like tools and their uses, safety, PPE, tell us about your trade, apprenticeship, time-lapse builds, show us your helmet stickers, and what's for lunch. So I think this, maybe is directed at our center that, we could help facilitate or look into having people, just on their smartphone talk about some of these things in their careers. So that's a neat suggestion. Jeremy did share Drew's email address, so everybody can reach out to him. And then we did have a link shared to realityworks.com, and it looks like they're trying to help support efforts for educators as well. And all of that will be shared in the resource link document we have going in Google.
Well, I don't know about anyone else, but this has been literally in the top 2 of the forums we've had today. So thank you, everybody, for your participation. I'm not going to shut things down. If you'd still like to connect, we'll leave this open. Nick, I don't know how long we have this scheduled for, but we'll just kind of keep this going, and hopefully more people speak up and collaborate and put things in chat.
Thank you guys for putting this on. I really appreciate it. It's just fun to hear all the different ideas and stuff that are out there, and trying to figure out how we could fit them in. So I'm out for my daily mental health walk, so I'm going to check out at this time. See you, everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, real quick, if I could jump in, I put that stuff out there from RealityWorks. I use Reality. I actually have 2 of those simulators. They're much cheaper than going out and buying the link, and I got 2 of them for, like 10 grand. They do work really well in the classroom, but unfortunately, at this time, we can't use them. But I did go to their site, and they do have some stuff for secondary instructors. The other thing I wanted to throw out is, as far as not being able to get in the lab with our kids, here in Minnesota, there's a lot of fish houses that are out on the lake in the wintertime. And one of the projects that has been good for me up to now has been having the kids make a 6.5 by 12 fish house frame blueprints, where they have to figure out how much material they're going to need, what the cost is on that, and then a cut list and things like that. I don't know if that helps anybody else, but I just thought if you're looking for something at the secondary level and you start looking at reverse engineering, that's a potential way to do it. And then they could talk about the different welds that they're going to have to perform, because they're not going to be just flat. You're also going to have stuff that's going to be vertical, T-joints, butt joints, stuff like that. So just throwing stuff out.
Yeah, and don't forget all the OSHA opportunities as well, and that'll fall underneath should fall underneath your Perkins dollars too. So I think there's some publications, there's some links on that Google Doc that Sue and Jeremy have for some OSHA 10 trainings as well, because it would be nothing better than be able to have these students walk out with a certificate like that in their hand as well.
There was another resource just shared that there are some great videos put up on YouTube by weld.com that work well to include in PowerPoints. So that is another suggestion that you could look into.
Sue, at the high school level, I know we use MCIS a lot, which is a Minnesota career platform. MCIS has a lot of different things for secondary schools to use as well for career, resume building, interview skills, soft skills, and things like that that are really underused by most high schools.
Great, and that was MCIS.
Yeah, I'm going to get the link and share it here in just a second.
Perfect, thank you, I'll add it.
I also think we need to keep in mind that MSSC is also a great tool to have available. I think there's some, Sue and her team have led some trainings across the state for some MSSC as well, on what that can look like.
They're getting older now, but some of the videos that Steve Belial did are still pretty good technically, and the photography's not bad.
My kids love him. They call him Denim Dan or the 70s porn star, but I agree with you. They still
yeah, it's interesting if you look online. His wife is the camera person. It was a family productions.
Thanks for putting this on. I've got to run, but it's been very helpful, and look forward to more. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for participating today and all the great information shared.
Hey, Miller, what was the name of this Steve?
Steve Belial.
You know how to spell that?
I don't, but if you start to type it in on YouTube, it pops right up.
So like welding videos?
Sue,
Oh, well.
Sue, I think, not to cut you guys off, it's Drew again. I think who Miller did, Belial is Belisle, I believe.
All right, I'll
Pretty,
check.
It looks like Belizzle.
yeah, pretty, something like that, yeah. Bonners Ferry, Idaho, I know that.
Well, I know I'm curious now.
Yeah, there it is. Jeremy's got it. Belizzle. Belial.
Well, Google Docs even corrected me on it.
Yeah, for sure. That the only reason I know that is oh, I got it wrong. It was Belial. Ooh, Nick got it. I just know Belizzle because I played hockey with one. And that's how he spelled it.
Of course, if you really want to go old school, you can go to the one Disney did, Mr. Shrink.
Yeah. Oh, Bliley. Yeah, okay. Nick got it. Bliley or Bleal.
yeah, the MCIS link got shared too. I will add that in. And we also had the link for the weld.com videos on YouTube too. So I think I have them all now.
Anything, I think you've heard me talk about this before, Sue. Anything Mike Rowe,
Yeah.
you already know that.
Well, it's funny though, he hasn't come up all day today, which is a little surprising now that you mention it.
Well, there I am throwing a Hail Mary.
We will take it.
Like final seconds, just a Hail Mary. Mike Rowe, anything Mike Rowe is.
I agree.
That's awesome.
He's did you guys, I don't know if you guys saw the article that was in, God, was it in the Pioneer Press or Star Tribune? Because he spoke at the Builders and Remodelers Showcase, just about trade and technical, getting our kids involved. That's my Hail Mary.
It's a good one. You like
Back of the end zone, pylon.
Oh,
Nice.
Hamilton, touchdown.
Well, thank you. This has been helpful.
That is great. That was exactly our goal. Spur organic conversation, bring educators from across the state and potentially the nation together to share some great information so we can help navigate through this situation we're all affected by. So I really appreciate everyone's participation, and we will post the link once more for the shared Google document, as well as our center COVID-19 response information. Feel free to go there at any time, and that will be kept up to date regularly. And thank you again for attending.
Thank you, Jeremy, Sue, Nick, Jamie. You guys are awesome. You always put on a great show.
so do you, Drew. Thanks a lot.
Listen, I'm just here to support you all.
We paid you to say that, maybe.
That's not true. Well, I mean, maybe like the occasional breakfast once every year.
Maybe.
But that doesn't, that's different. So I'm going to step off and go have a cocktail, and
Sounds good.
hope you all are doing well and staying safe, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Sounds good.
Sounds great. Get out and enjoy the day.
I'll try.
Don't be too close to other people, though.
No, I got to go break down like trash and recycling. So
Awesome.
Pretty excited about that.
Sounds fun.
All right. See you guys.
Take care. Well, we will officially shut down the forum at 3:45. So any last comments? $60 seconds.
Just a reminder, the links to the Google Drive folder and the resource list document are in the chat. So be sure and access those before you go.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Please visit our website and look at our links. It's very possible we may have additional forums in the future to get together potentially next week. It really depends on the needs and the requests. But please reach out with any questions, or if you need any of the information, we will be very responsive. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day.